Hello everyone, I'm Lost and welcome to the rain. Generally I do prefer doing these videos when it's not raining, but hey, screw it, let's continue. Today we are talking about perhaps the best weapon in the entire game for PvP, which is Vyke's spear. I think this weapon is by far the best. In fact, this weapon, especially dual-wielded like this, was so much better than a pre-nerf Rivers of Blood. I know we all complained about that weapon, but in the end, this is so goddamn broken. I might even put it in the title that this weapon is broken. I generally don't like using words like that because it's just... It has absolutely no creativity about it, but... it's true. The reason why this weapon is so goddamn good is because of the madness. I think most of you guys know that. The fact that you can proc madness even when somebody is in their invincibility frames when they roll just takes that out of the question. You can then do one of several incredibly hard-hitting attacks, my favorite being the jump and L1, just hitting them like that. It does so much damage. It probably would give you a guaranteed 1500 damage. The weapon itself actually has pretty solid damage. If I take a look at it, you can see I do 678 damage, which is very solid, especially considering the fact that you have two weapons that do exactly that amount of damage, and you can boost it if I have the right tiers in, which I do not at the moment, because I had to remake this build, because the clips you're going to see were clips that I have gathered a while back, but let's put it on, shall we? Let's just do that. Let's get the proper tiers, and hell, why don't we just add the faith tier as well? Just a little extra boost. And we use this, and now we're doing 739. That's a solid amount of extra damage. The cherry on top here is of course the weapon art. The weapon art goes like this. Look at the amount of ground that the Frenzy Flame covers. Not only does it do damage, but it also will increase people's madness. As you can see, I myself got a little bit of madness increased by that, but I don't think that is nearly enough. Let's take a look at that again, shall we? That's like maybe 20%. Maybe. I think perhaps that should do half. If we want to balance this out right, if we want to make this a high risk, high reward weapon. You'll see. Let's just get into the invasion, shall we? And before I do anything else, I must apologize. I know that might be a hard pill for some of you to swallow. I know that a lot of you won't even accept the fact that I made a mistake, simply because in your eyes I am perfect. It is like learning that your dad, whom you worship more than anything else, sometimes is wrong. Anyways, for some reason my OBS decided that it wouldn't want to cooperate, and most of these clips, if not all of them, have that weird text up in the corner and that white line. Don't know what that is, but you guys are going to have to live with that. Anyways, we have 3 people fighting me, and they are doing nothing but hurling magic my way, spamming that weapon art, and quite frankly, I understand why they would do such a thing. Fighting against somebody with Vyke's spear is very dangerous. If I get one running L1 in, and if I hit them properly, they are going to get madnessed, and they're gonna die. Now, in most cases, I'd probably die to this to this invasion, to these people, but I managed to actually focus down the host here, and I won. Moving on, I'm going to show you a great example of why this weapon art is really good. Now, it's really good in general. Just look at what I can do. I can go through the walls here. But since we are in a very specific area, we're on a lot of bridges, we're in an enclosed space, well, I am allowed to control the environment a little bit. I have to escape, I have to do a run, I have to run away a little bit, but I turn around, and now what are you going to do? Are you gonna walk through the madness fire? I don't think so. And I thought I missed him, but I was lucky and he decided he wanted to roll right off the edge there. Not great. So it's just me and Sensei left, and I decide to land on him with my weapon art, and look at that. He goes crazy, and I do a running attack, and he dies. It is quite frankly insane the amount of damage you can do. Now, as dangerous as this weapon is, I don't see it all that often. Not in invasions. No, I think the reason for that is Vyke spears are much more of a PvP weapon and less a PvE weapon. Now, that doesn't mean I haven't seen ganks using this weapon to great effect. It doesn't mean I haven't seen solo hosts who want to be invaded use this weapon to great effect. And oh, there he goes, I killed that man, that felt really good. Rivers of Blood was a much better weapon for melting bosses. It just also happened to be really good at fighting players. Now, you can be very effective against PvE with Vyke spears, granted, but it wasn't a crutch. It's not a crutch that the pre-nerf Rivers of Blood was. And so you don't see it all that often for invasions. Which is, I suppose, fine. I think that means that not enough people will complain, and I don't think we'll ever see a nerf to this weapon. Which may bother a few people, but I think I can learn to live with that. Now, thanks to the strength of that weapon, I have been holding my own against these three people. Now, they have some pretty strong weapons. They have some... They have Rivers of Blood, they have spells, and they have the numbers. But I'm holding my own here, and I think that the main reason for that is they respect the madness. They do not want to get caught here, but they might just. Look at that. One running attack later, and one little madness proc, and the man's dead. He couldn't do much. I feel bad for him. Same with our friend here, Monk Nicholas. I think he understands the way the wind is blowing, and so he's running back to the bonfire. Well, I'm sorry, the Grace. Look, I'm a Dark Souls 3 player. Maybe he wants to save his runes. Maybe he wants to get more friends. It doesn't really matter, cause if I just get close enough to just hit him a few times, I don't even have to do any damage. I just have to get the thing to proc. That's one hit. I didn't do damage. I hit him again. There you go. Look at that. Thanks to the madness, the man dies. Oh, yeah. Well, this next invasion might be a little bit embarrassing, but you know what? I made some mistakes. Who hasn't? It's actually rather fascinating here, because here we go. We have a guy that comes at me with this spinny wand. My god, I thought I was dead there. Not only because the spinny wand can do tons and tons of damage, but look at that. How did I even manage? I don't understand. And now I'm stuck in this little hole. Oh, I can't see anything, but he doesn't have a lot of health. I got lucky there. I will freely admit I got lucky. Not only did the man have very little health, but I also landed on that thing and didn't die. I didn't die due to fall damage. I don't know if you can die to fall damage. I think you would. I think I would die to fall damage that way. Fall damage in Elden Ring, it's a hard thing to judge sometimes, and I don't like it. Anyways, I'm expecting the guy to summon his friend again, so I just immediately used the finger to get over here, and oh my god, what a shock. The finger actually does its job. A little bit of a tangent, I suppose, but please, FromSoft, please adjust the fingers so they work better. Now, his friend is about to come in, and he's spamming that weapon art. I mean, if it works, I suppose, do it. And here comes my mistake. I accidentally used the fingers. I mean, we've all been there, haven't we? We invaded, we got stuck, we used the fingers, and then we forgot to switch back to our Crimson Flask. It happens. He got his friend back. Well, I say his friend back, that's a different guy. But, you know, help is help. And I realize, okay, he's got Vyke Spear as well. he's using his fingerprint shield. It doesn't matter! It doesn't matter, because I madness him through the shield. Wow. I thought I might die to this, but the host got a little too impatient, got a little too aggressive, and paid the price for it. Also, this invasion here is amazing. Take a note of the host's name, Fire Prelate. He is dressed up as one of the Fire Prelates, and he's got a blue hair. And he is also using one of the items that makes the enemies fight on his side. I just gotta say, man, I love people like this. So Fire Prelate, if you're watching, my hat is off to you. People who make creative builds or come up with creative scenarios like this, I applaud, because they make my job of making these invasions so much more easy. Now, granted, I feel a little bad for coming up against this guy using perhaps one of the most try-hard builds I have ever made, ever, but hey, it is what it is. And one of the bonuses in this situation is that Vyke spears are not that great against the mobs. At least not as good as, let's say, Rivers of Blood would have been. Now, I'm a little unsure at this point on how I'm going to proceed in the invasion, but then I see, okay, we are getting a blue. The only thing that would make this invasion better at this point is if that blue also comes dressed as a Fire Prelate, but I hardly think that Giga Chad would... Well, I think that Giga Chad would do such a thing. Also, I'm taking a lot of damage. I want some space here, but I'm not getting it because Giga Chad decides he wants to ruin my day. Well, this man is a little bit unwise in how he proceeds because he decides to come straight at me with no backup. And he's dead. He fell to my Ash of War. Poor guy. Should have walked over to the Fire Prelate there, who is using the... I don't know what the emote is called, but something fire. Regardless, I actually get lucky here, and instead of another blue, we get another red. I'm honestly, I tried to run up to this guy, and I tried to stab him in the back. I tried. It's been a little while since I've been fighting PvE guys, and especially the Fire Prelates. God, I do sometimes fight some bosses. I have a few backup saves where I simply go and defeat the bosses. I think the bosses in these games are so much fun to play against. In fact, some of the bosses that people hate the most, like Malekith, I fight again and again and again, simply because I love to get around all of their attacks. I love to avoid their attacks and attack at the same time. Jumping in this game is great. I do manage to get to the Fire Prelate, and also, I just now realize it's not a complete Fire Prelate, and it's a blood build, sure, but he also comes dressed as a big fatty boy. I think this invasion was so much fun. I think I get a little bit of love from the host there, and then I don't exactly know what the red was thinking when he came back and shook his body. Maybe he thought that the host was looking for help, and the red said, hey, don't help him out. Or maybe the red was like, you know what, I got this myself. I don't know. But we have the requisite, and we have the Fire Prelate. And the Fire Prelate is running away here. Clearly, he's very afraid of the bleed weapons, which I understand. I would be afraid too, if it wasn't for the fact that I'm running dual Vyke spears. But the red gets the Fire Prelate, and I jump out of respect. And I tried to hit him a few times. Didn't. I only got him once. Anyways. We're on the ground now, and there we go, there's our victims. It's Chala and D. Small D. He does look like a small D. I'm sorry, sir. I guess that was rude of me. I deserve that backstab. Granted, now I'm on the back foot. Fighting against the Great Sword, and the Moonveil is not great for me. I am very close to death. Ooh, I need a little bit of space. Come on, jump over there. Fantastic. Now, generally in invasions, I want to kill the phantoms first, because that way the invasion lasts longer. I don't know if that's something that is generally a thing amongst invaders, but that's always been what I do. Granted, in this situation, I didn't really have the luxury of doing that because these guys were dangerous. The Great Sword did so much damage, the Moon Veil did so much damage, and there was a blue coming, so the smart thing would be simply to kill him. Oh, there's another Giga Chad. There is a surprising amount of people whose name is Giga Chad in this game. I suppose everybody wants to feel like a Giga Chad sometimes. There are worse things to name your character, like Guts. That being said, Giga Chad is not really acting like a Giga Chad, is he? I think he's running around. Giga Chad ran off the edge there. Just like me! Transition! I swear that was not planned. Alright, so this guy is an excellent example of why this weapon is so good. He did a bunch of attacks, he did a bunch of rolls, and he didn't take any damage until he did. And when he did take damage, the man died. So lucky me, I only have to contend with 2 people. Oh, but he's also using Morgoth's sword, which is another really solid weapon. So I can't take these people lightly. I should probably have attacked there, but oh my god, we are so close. If I can hit that guy one more time, I think I would end it. But no, and I have to back off. Help me is pushing me backwards, which is an interesting thing to say. Oh, I lost this one. I suppose we're almost close to the end of the video. I did lose a few more, but this one was the only one that I put in the video simply because the other one was so short. Anyways, straight into the fight with another weapon art. Amazing. We got a lot of, not a lot of damage per se, but I'm sure we got a lot of proccing happening here. And yeah, there you go. His ass is grass. And then there's only the oh god. Poor guy. He's set on fire, surrounded by enemies. Oh, I feel bad for him. GG, sir. I do wish you GG. Oh, and this was the first invasion I did that day. I remember it. I just run straight up and just immediately get them killed. A fun one to end on. And we're done. If there's any doubt about this, let's just get it out of the way. We are going to give this weapon a 10 out of 10. 11 out of 10. It is that goddamn good. In fact, I would probably have lost a ton of fights here if it wasn't for the fact that we had Vyke spears. Anyways, thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. I love all of you, except for Jared. And I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.